how to start your Monday morning. Start the fire, boil the water, grind the coffee, add filter, coffee in the filter, water into filter, watch it drip, more water, watch it drip some more, fill your cup, raise your cup, and no. Leave the house and leave it up to the professionals to make the coffee. I'll stick to the conversations. Welcome to Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. This is episode 88. It is phenomenal. Every time I say the new number, I am like kind of shocked myself. Like, oh my God, we're so close to 100 and planning a big party for that. So stay tuned for those interesting details, which I will figure out soon to be disclosed soon. So today, you know, I love the National Calendar Days, but today is not a day that I'm really grooving on because it is National Milk Chocolate Day. And of course, if you know me, you know I'm allergic to chocolate, so we're just going to move on. Although there were ding dongs, and my sister-in-law Terry's here, and she enjoyed one of those. So she's like nodding, like horrified that I talked about her. Okay, so here's a question. Are you relatable? Okay, so that is the question we're going to be asking today. And I have to tell you, I don't know if this is relatable or not, but this morning, my dog, he has had vertigo, then he had a middle ear infection. So he's been super sick. He's been tipping over constantly. Oh, no. He falls down. He's like one of those cartoon dogs. And I'm like, come on, buddy, you got this, right? So this morning I woke up and I realized that he had thrown up like everywhere downstairs. So I'm like, this is so gross. What am I wearing to the show today? And I'm shampooing the carpet too, by the way. So I don't know if that's relatable to any of you, but it is a lot sometimes. Yes. So, right, Terry Bean?
I would tell you that when we talk about finding common ground with people, which is like the core of relatability, pets is so high on the list. So dog people or cat people?
Dog person.
Dog.
Allergic to everything.
Allergic to everything person. Okay.
Yes.
She's a Brooke people.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
No chocolate or dogs.
No, I love chocolate.
No chocolate dogs. Okay, so real quick, let me introduce, all these people will look familiar to you, except for Deborah and Renee, but Terry Bean, of course, he has been with us before. Life coach, just all-around mentor, just a fantastic guy. If you need to excel in your personal life, business life, this is the guy you want to call. JoJo Dries, she is the founder of On the Wings of Angels, also a very dear friend, and I do have to disclose that I am one of her board members, albeit a very bad board member. I have missed every phone call. So I'm hoping, so far. So I'm hoping this makes up for it.
But you support us in so many different ways, Brooke.
Thank you, JoJo.
It's not just the phone calls. There's so many ways people can support, and you just are a huge part of that. So thank you.
I appreciate that because I thought today JoJo's going to be like, yeah, remember when I was on last time and I said you were a board member? Now you're not.
We're revoking.
We're changing the spelling.
We're done with that. And then Renee Beeker. So Renee is a fantastic person, and I don't want to get this wrong, so hold on for a second, Renee. Founder of the National Family Court Watch Project. In full disclosure, I was not going to say this, but I will. She's actually my cousin as well, but a very passionate person and very tuned into what needs to be done in the court system, and also a survivor of domestic violence. And so I thought JoJo and Renee would have a great deal in common and a great deal to talk about as well. Deborah Falzon, she is a realtor by day, right? And she is with the Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce.
That is correct.
And you were my ambassador. So we met at Starbucks. It was so exciting. She had the little gift bag, which I loved. I'm always like digging through those on pillaging, right? I'm like, a new coffee cup. Yay. But you guys have an event coming up. You are the chairperson for the Rockin Under the Stars event, which is coming up Saturday.
Saturday the 2nd. Yeah, it's already here.
Isn't it? So it's amazing. I said this last week that it feels like summer is just flying by. But I think we say that every year. Yep. Right? So it's about the time that we say this. We
never say it about winter, though.
Right? Like, although I have to say, on that 100-degree day, I was like, please snow, please snow. So I mentioned relatability. And Terry, you sent me a quiz.
I did.
Okay, so first of all, relatability. I looked up the definition of that.
Perfect. Let's hear it, because I have no idea what it means.
You have no idea?
No clue.
Oh, wait, maybe I don't have the card. Okay.
That's actually relatable.
It is, right?
I would write it down and then not bring it.
Okay, so relatable. Okay, so possible to understand, like, or have sympathy for someone else because of the similarities to oneself.
Yeah, I like that.
So relatable. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how relatable are you?
9.5.
Really?
Yeah,
Show
yeah.
off.
I'm good at it, right? I created the quiz, so
So you knew all the answers.
right, yeah. It was something that was really important to me to help people, whether they're in leadership, whether they're in sales, whether they're in customer experience or customer service, right? Whether they're in human resources and trying to build a culture. The relatability factor between people is such an important element. And so the better we get at it, the better all of us will get along. And I'm a huge proponent of why can't we all get along?
Yes.
So is relatable the same as authentic?
It, in an ideal world, it is. But what happens is most of us skip the step of getting relatable to ourselves first, which is why in the quiz, those first 6 questions are about how do you relate to you, your vision, where you're going, who you are, who you want to be, how you show up, the impression you leave on people. Those things are really important, and we have to get to a point where we understand what matters to us, what our values are, and what we're bringing to the world. So step one is always how connected am I at? How connected am I to me?
So Renee, I saw you nodding your head.
Well, now I've forgotten what you just said. However, knowing what you want to do, how you want to do it, having that vision. I mean, I relate to that because I have a vision, and it's amazing the things that we've done. But if you can keep your vision, then you can become very successful, I believe. And there was something else that you said, Terry, but it's slipped my brain.
That's okay. Well, if
Also
you were
relatable.
Very, especially now.
exactly. Okay, so JoJo, you also were shaking your head. So
Well, with On the Wings of Angels, we talk very openly about domestic violence and what it looks like to be a survivor and how the statistics are so high. And I think it's important that people see that, right? Like there's a relatability to the fact that, oh, I know somebody who's experienced that, or I've experienced it myself. And it's the one way, a lot of people say, well, how have you gone, so public and done all of this? It's because I want people to know that I'm relatable because I know you've experienced something similar.
and you know it personally.
Personally.
So there's the factor, right?
Yes.
Being
yes.
relatable. And Renee, I know that you've experienced this as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But one of the real difficult things is for me personally, I've gone through my whole life not realizing how severe that abuse was.
Yeah.
And so many times I can be triggered. So I'm still dealing with things
Sure.
other people maybe have already navigated through, and try to be real cognizant because I have a ton of women who contact me who are dealing with all kinds of trauma, and caution in how we approach.
Yes.
Because you don't know where they're at, and triggers can happen at a drop of a hat.
Yes.
And no matter
Agreed.
how long
It doesn't matter.
time
It
has
doesn't-
passed,
it
right?
does
It
not
could be
matter how
yesterday or it
long.
could be
Yep.
20 years ago.
Time does not matter.
No.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. Go ahead, JoJo.
But I do think that, the more we share our stories and tell people, so I'm always posting about it or on TV or on a podcast or something and sharing the story, the more other people can come out with their own stories. And I think the huge piece of relatability says, okay, I've been there, and if I've made it out, so can you. And I think that's the power of showing the relatability. And then to the point of the triggers, I think, so for me at least, and maybe everyone's different. But for me, one way that I have been showing people that I'm relatable is I am posting more about those triggered moments and what that looks like, so that other people can also say, "Oh, I'm not so crazy,"
Or alone.
Or alone.
Yeah.
So JoJo, what have been the responses to those public? I mean, that's on Facebook, and
Yes.
you haven't gotten
You see it.
anything.
Nothing
Nobody has-
negative.
Yeah, nothing negative.
And I get a lot of private messages sharing their own stories, which to our point of having an organization, both of us, you're trying to help people. And so in order to help more people, to push those buttons per se and say, okay, look this is what happened to me, or this is the moment that I was triggered, shows them. Because, I have a very understanding husband and children, and to the point where I've apologized and said, hey, I'm sorry that my triggered moment affected you or spilled out on you.
Right.
And they have very much understanding for me. A lot of people aren't in families that can understand that. And so I think it's important that they have a safe space to say, oh, look at this happened to me too. How do I process through it?
So what I've learned through my many years on this earth, I won't disclose that, is that people either have suffered like a terrible loss or grief or, some major catastrophic event in their life. But there are people, and I'm so happy for them, that have not experienced that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's amazing to me that you can go through your life and not really deal with anything that is going to knock you out and wonder how you're going to breathe again. Right. But then there's the people who are like, how am I going to get through this?
Yeah.
And when you encounter those people who haven't suffered, and I like I said, I'm happy for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But if you can't identify with that, then you don't know how to comfort someone who's going through something else, right? Whether it be a death or escaping a domestic violence situation.
Yep.
And that is something I think, Terry, that we need to kind of learn as people, like maybe say, oh, you know what? I really haven't experienced any major catastrophic event, but I know so many people who have. How do I help them if I don't know what they're going through?
Just be with people, right? Be there. To your question earlier about authentically, right? Just be kind, be compassionate, be open, and acknowledge that you don't understand, but that you're either willing to learn or willing to listen or willing to support, and create a judgment-free zone. Right? So often we listen to reply or to one up, and we just have to listen just empathetically, sympathetically.
Okay, Deborah, I saw you nod your head at that one. So what do you think about that? I mean, as far as for you being relatable, and you're a realtor, right? So you have to be very relatable, I would think.
Absolutely. And I deal with people in all different kinds of life situations. The joy of your first house, or people going through divorce or whatnot. But yeah, you have to be a good listener and really dive deep into exactly what they want and why they want it, so you can help them get to where they want to be.
And you have to get through that emotion.
Right.
Right. Because I know you mentioned, the whether it's a divorce or a death and there's a house involved. I mean, so many people, there's so many memories tied into that.
Yeah.
And so people, it's like, when I left my last house, it was like taking a dog to the vet, right? It was like, I don't want to go, because you have all those memories.
Yeah.
Your kids were happy. Everything was good.
All the memories
Yes.
and the birthdays and the holidays and all of that.
Yeah, and everybody, you remember everyone who was there celebrating, who may be gone now, so that is a very difficult job, I think, to be able to, okay, so your interest rate is going to be this, but.
Right. Yeah, it's a very emotional process because it's exciting on one hand, buying a new home, but it's also scary. And I do it all day, every day, but for most people, they might do it maybe 2 or 3 times in their life. Yeah. So it's a little frightening.
Well, in a hard market like we have now, you have a whole nother issue that you have to deal with when people get excited and sold on a house and it was sold to somebody else.
Yeah, the multiple offer situations.
Right.
Yeah, that's a bit of a roller coaster.
That's a real thing, though, right? Is that where we are still, or has it gotten better?
Depends on the price point. So around that $350 range, if it's a beautiful home, you're going to be in multiple offers. And ranch homes, even more competitive because you've got every buyer. You get your people that are downsizing into their forever home at the moment, everything on one floor. And usually they come with cash because they built the equity in their house of 30 to 40 years.
And aging in place.
Right.
Aging in place is a big thing. So if people want to do that, and then like you said, it's like, what do you mean it was sold? That was my house.
Yeah.
Because they have first-time home buyers that are in that price range too, and it's like, but they have cash and they can't compete. They need a mortgage because they haven't had the luxury of building up equity in anything,
and the luxury of time.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, so Renee, tell me. Okay, so the National Family Court Watch Project. You are the president and the founder of this. Tell us what that is.
Okay, well, in 2004, with a group of people, we were monitoring the court, and it all really started. I was very active in the National Organization for Women, and on their court management or their court advisory board, and we received hundreds of phone calls about women losing custody of their children, and especially in domestic violence cases where they felt that they were going to court to get protection and they didn't get protection. So we went out and did a pilot. We observed over 600 family law cases in 6 states, I believe, and we published that pilot in 2019. And we started in 2004, but we weren't in court that whole time. We were in and out. So we had students from various universities. The last observations in that pilot was in 2012 or 2014. And then we published that pilot, and in order to prove or show that the instrument we developed would work in any state. Since then, we've been in 13 states. I direct a extern program with John Jay, College of Criminal Justice in New York, where I have students who are master candidates in the forensic psychology program court monitoring for us in the boroughs in New York. We've been in 4, maybe 5. And we have about almost 3,000 observations in 13 states, and we're right now compiling that data. But the court is a serious problem. And the reality is that while there are wonderful judges, and I've met many of them, I just came home from a judicial conference, the NCJC, the National Council for Juvenile and Family Court Judges, and I do sit on their court management committee. So they're listening to our voice because I'm there, so they're hearing what's happening. But I will say that the court is dangerous for women, and that is just a fact.
Yep.
And if you have children and anyone is in any physical danger, there's even more danger. And this is why I will never stop doing it. When this next article comes out, our goal is to show the patterns and the reality of what's going on. Of course, most people in court have no money.
Right.
They're poor, and even upper middle income cannot afford the court anymore. So gaining access to justice is a real problem. So this is my passion for life.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that.
So I think it's very interesting. A lot of people know the story of when George got killed by a drunk driver in California, my previous husband. And what was so interesting to me is that the kid who was driving the car that killed him, when we ended up in the court system, and ironically, I was, what is it? The premeditate, when you're sitting in the very first hearing.
Right.
And he literally was the seat in front of me. But you didn't know who he was.
Sure.
So when they called him up, and I was like, I could have smacked him in the head.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah. I could have just pulled his hair or something. But what was so interesting about that whole process, because from the media side of things, when you're covering it, it's a whole different thing, right? But when you're in it, it's an entirely different thing. And I have to say, going through that experience, that there were often times that I felt like I was defending him as opposed to the kid who was 19 on a suspended license, his second hit and run, and this one involving fatalities. And I kept thinking, why do I feel like I'm having to justify my daughter or what, or his life, you know? And I can imagine what domestic survivors feel when they're in the court system and they're standing there thinking everyone has their back. And as you found out, that's not the case.
Especially women who are victims of violence, when they go in for a protective order, often are told to come back. And we actually observed a lot of this in our last semester. What's traumatizing is they go in and they're talking about the trauma. I need a protective order. This person's threatened me. And they say, oh, you'll have to come back. You didn't do the paperwork right. Or, some issue happens, and to have domestic violence victims return to a court to get a protective order it should stop. We should just give women protective orders and ask the questions later. Right. Crossing the T's and dotting the I's should not be the reason to not get one.
Because how often does that end up in a fatal situation?
Well, we've got a lot of that in the news. You can just go and find it. In Michigan, I can't remember this woman's case. It was a northern part of our state. I wish I remembered her name, but she had gone to court for protective order, was denied. She explained that he had bought a gun, threatened to kill himself. Well, he did shoot her mother, and her son from a different relationship, and then he killed himself. Those are the real things.
Yeah.
Those are things that happen.
That's right.
Babies are being shot.
Yeah.
Okay? We have a problem here, and this
Yeah.
is a societal problem.
That's right.
And we have a systemic societal problem that is causing death of children.
That's right.
JoJo, what do you have to add? To add to
First
that?
of all, I just want to do like a standing ovation because sometimes I feel alone in this fight. And it feels very good to hear someone from your perspective because we get the aftermath of that, right? Where these women feel helpless. And so what do I do now if the court's not helping me?
Well, they're helpless, broke,
Yep.
and nowhere to go. We
Yep.
do not have enough legal support.
Yep.
Sadly, lawyers take on cases that they shouldn't probably take on,
Yeah.
and make things much worse.
So what we're doing is, early on, I was given the opportunity to prosecute my dad and my brother and my family, and we had a lot of fraud and financial issues that I could have prosecuted them for, in addition to, the sexual violence and the physical violence.
And they were actually using your name, right?
And they were using my
your
name.
name,
Yeah, yeah. So they did a lot of fraud in my own name and took my social security number, and it was like a lot of that. And the FBI gentlemen, both of them looked at me and said, the forensics guy for the financial and the forensics guy for the other abuse, sexual and everything else, said, you can either take the next 5 years of your life and prosecute your family and win, likely, and you have enough proof here, because I did have the proof and I had all the evidence, or you can take the next 5 years of your life and start your family. And I had just reconnected with the love of my life, and we wanted to start a family and this beautiful life that we now have. So I had the luxury, and I say luxury because I landed in this beautiful heavenly spot to move forward. But many of these women don't. And so we find ourselves filling in that gap. So we created a situation where they now have community support. We do have attorneys that, this one attorney just literally won this huge case for this woman and totally took her from A to Z. And she said, in the 10 years that I've been fighting my husband in court, my ex-husband in court, never have I felt so protected, and never has somebody won and intimidated my ex-husband and his attorneys the way that this attorney did. So we are grateful to have some attorneys in our corner. If you're listening to this and you want to provide that type of a donation, please look us up and do that. But we have sent women to court with security officers because they don't even feel protected when they're testifying. So we have a female security team that we send with them into the court system, and we've had them pick them up. So I feel like each organization, and this is why I love collaborating with other nonprofits, and I'd love to talk to you offline.
Yes,
Okay, but is because we all fill in a certain gap in the system, and the whole point is the survivor. The survivor, how can we get them to feel safe? So
can I piggyback a little bit? Not exactly from this, but we were just asked to partner with the Hague Mothers, and I don't know if you're familiar with the Hague Court at all, but when a woman leaves a country with her child, typically they are arrested and incarcerated, and they go to court, and it's typically the Hague Court. And there are a few judges in the U.S. who've done Hague cases. They are in Europe. And just so that you're aware, when a mother loses her child in that set of circumstances, almost always they never see that child again. So women typically leave out of fear of death for themselves or their children. And the Hague operates under the 13(1)(b), which is when children are kidnapped or taken. So we need to, as a society, take the time to mitigate danger first and then deal with the legalities after.
agreed.
I'm not saying that every case is meant to be.
We need to believe survivors is really what you're saying.
Yeah, we just first let's protect people and then figure things out. And I know the courts feel bogged down and all of that, but this is just what we need to do.
Can I say something too?
Of course, yes.
So Deborah, when I was a mortgage loan officer, which I was prior to all of this, because I was raised in the real estate and mortgage industry, one of my very first closings when I launched on my own was a woman who was in a divorce situation and had to take the ownership herself of the house. And so the realtor and I work together so closely. I mean, I'm sure you see that in certain cases. And if you do have clients, send them our way. We'd love to support them in whatever way we can.
Absolutely. I never knew about either of your organizations, and my heart is breaking right now because I had no idea that this was going on. And holy cow! So I would.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I'm sure you see with the real estate side of things, women in a tough divorce or the ex is trying to
and
get ugly,
scary situations, and you can just feel that negative energy in the space. I mean, even just like walking through the front door, you're like, this isn't good.
No.
So one thing about On the Wings of Angels, Renee, you were talking about, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and that was one thing. When I was still at WWJ, people would call the newsroom and say, "Oh, do you know where I can find this? Do you know where I need this help? Do I, And interestingly enough, you have a huge Rolodex, but you're still like, oh, I can't find that for them.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about On the Wings of Angels is that you guys kind of do what Renee says.
Yes.
Right? You're like, let me help you and we'll figure it out after. Right?
Yes.
The logistics almost.
Exactly. And that's, I think, so my whole premise when we founded was when I left, there was a category of people that believed me and there was a category of people that believed my family and just thought I was absolutely batshit crazy. Right? And so for us, our thing is first believe the survivor. Of course, we do our due diligence to the best of our ability, but we like to call ourselves, along with a few other organizations like I Care of Michigan and some others, we like to call ourselves a no red tape nonprofit.
Yeah.
Meaning there's no red tape. If you come to us and you need help, okay, do you need safe housing right now? Let's get you in a hotel. How long do you need it for? We'll figure that out. Do you need transportation? We'll figure that out. And when you're in fight or flight mode, as you know from these women, you can't prioritize. You can't even hardly think straight. So coming from that, that's what I've tried to create for our survivors is a system of help now, ask the questions later, and figure all of those details out in collaboration. Oh, you need a house to rent? Okay, what area do you want to live in? You go do the research. Oh, I don't know how. Okay, we'll help you. But we're all about empowering the survivor and then getting them their answers.
I think often women going through these crises are so traumatized that you're afraid to do something for yourself.
Yes.
You're reaching out for someone to
you
help
can do it.
That you can do it.
You've been gaslit into believing that you can't for so long.
For so long.
And also, well, what's great is that you have obviously the resources to do these things. We do Court Watch when we can. I have the extern program, but money is always an issue for a nonprofit.
It is.
We don't have any money.
Yeah.
We have a board of people that give the money needed for us to operate.
Yeah.
And very few donations. But having the extern program, which I'd like to have other colleges step up because we need more civic observations happening around the country. And it's very easy to involve students and have them learn about what's happening in the court. And John Jay was all over. We want to do this.
You did that at Michigan, though, right? Didn't kids get
I've had
credit?
students from U of M, MSU, Eastern, Oakland, students in California, students in Massachusetts. We've had students, but this is a full-on extern program where I teach these students how to go into the court, and then they go in and make the observations. We meet weekly. We talk about what they observed, and they write. They have to do a lot of work. I also have them research how judges are elected. I think there's we're talking about college people, 25. They don't know how judges are elected.
To your point about the funding, and I mean, Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen is a bit of an edgy program. So we're just going to say this, okay? We're just going to say this. We're going to say it.
Got edgy.
It just got edgy. We're going to say this. We're going to say it publicly, and we're going to say it live. To those listening, right? Yeah. Like every dollar counts, and I think a lot of people don't know what to do, and so they donate to your traditional, I'm not going to name obviously names, but you donate to your traditional, right? No, I'm not going to, but they donate to your traditional big box
because
nonprofits because they know they're safe. But when you hear conversations like this, where we're actually on the ground helping people in your community, please think about taking those dollars and donating it to an on the ground local nonprofit that's giving back to the bodies that are in your community.
So Terry, let me ask you this. So relatable again, right? Yeah. Because people out there, like JoJo just said, it's like, oh, well, I know that nonprofit's been around for years.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just keep giving to them. But how do JoJo and Renee kind of bring it in to where they're relatable to people who may not have suffered domestic violence?
So it's an interesting piece, and it all comes down to messaging and putting yourself out there, right? Some of the challenges that you're talking about relate strictly to awareness.
Yes.
We know the big box. We hear about them. We see them out and about, right? So there's that awareness level, which
and
makes
Deborah
it
just
more
mentioned that,
relatable,
right? As far as not knowing this was going on.
Right.
And exactly. And now that you know that there's resources here, local, doing great things, and you can see these wonderful women, make some
You're not
time.
bad yourself.
Yes.
I'm a wonderful woman for sure. I
have to say we have no paid staff, so literally nobody's taking money from this nonprofit. The money goes to doing the work, and currently now we have thousands of observations to evaluate and run through an SPSS program, which we do not have. So we're trying to gain help with the university with that.
Renee, you're going to have an excellent clip from this show, right, to shorten that down and put that piece about extern out, and then ask your audience, who do they know in universities that might want to get involved in this program?
Okay,
Boom.
thank you.
I love that. That's good.
Got the internet.
Yeah.
The World Wide Web. We have it.
Well, we're on the World Wide Web for sure.
Right.
We'll be here some more.
Perfect.
Okay, so Terry, we did do that relatable. Well, some of it I did it last night, like 3 a.m, as usual, right?
You got the sneak peek.
Yeah. I had them do it, but it wasn't. So JoJo kind of finished it, right? Or did Renee kind of finish it?
I had a 90.
You had a 90. Okay, Deborah, did you get
Finished?
Okay, so she finished. Okay, so real quick, so this because it's all about communication, no matter what we're talking about,
That's
right?
right.
Whether you're raising awareness, it's your messaging, it's your brand. God help me with the brand thing again, right?
We redoing it again?
Yeah, no, we're not. No, this is it. This is what we're doing. The hair may change. I don't know.
Love the hair.
Thank you. Okay, so start. What were the categories of this quiz?
So it was 3 categories, 6 questions in each. How you relate to yourself, how you relate to others, and what your communication style is. Because at the core of all relationships is your ability to communicate effectively. So the better we get across the first 2, we can actually position our message, what we mean, say it the way we want, in a way that actually relates to the people we're talking to.
So out of those 3 categories, the first one is the most important, I guess.
It all starts there. How good are we with us?
Why is that so tricky?
Because most of us spend too much time looking at external factors and not doing the inner work, right? There's healing that we're talking about. There's trauma that we've experienced. There's things that we allow to divert our attention back and forth. And all of that becomes a bit challenging because we give attention to too many different things instead of focusing on the things that truly matter to us. Most of us didn't do the work to figure that part out.
Okay, so let me, because you've heard this from me pretty much every other day of my life, is, you're focusing on something, but there are those external factors. There's the sick kid. There's the, you know what I mean? There's all these different things that go on, and it's very hard, and I'm not ashamed to admit this, but to stay focused on your vision when there is everything else floating around you. I don't know how to do that, honestly.
That's right. And your dog throwing up requires attention,
man.
right? It really does.
Yeah.
And so what we all have is, not all of us, but many people have a to-do list that's a mile long, right? And what we do is we try and check off the list linearly. What I tell my clients to do is cut the list to the 5 most important things you need to do today. And all of a sudden that frees up time for sick kids, sick dogs, a phone call that you didn't expect from a long-term friend. Yeah. And here's the other thing. The phone call you didn't want, it hit decline. I know, it's crazy. I'm out there, right? But if there's somebody sucking your energy out of you, you can just put the hand up, give them the Heisman. I don't have time for that.
Okay, so let me ask all of you. Do you feel like you can decline a call and be like, okay, do you feel obligated to take a call, or do you feel like, okay,
A call from someone you don't want to talk to.
Okay, all right, be clear.
Right? I know in sales, right? If a call's coming in, I don't care. Even if it says spam risk, I'm like, but it might not be.
It's Russia, but whatever.
No, I don't take spam calls.
Yeah. But calls about from people you don't want. Are you comfortable saying, no, I'm not interested in talking to this person now or ever or whatever?
Yeah, if I'm in the middle of something, I'll let that go to voicemail because there's nothing in life that's a 911 emergency until it's truly a 911 emergency. But when it just comes to just random,
Even though in real estate they make you feel that
I was just going to
other
say that.
other agents and loan officers make you feel like they are.
after 23 years of
There
being
you
in the
go.
business,
There you go.
in my younger day, yes, everything was a 911 emergency, and now it's just, everything will be okay. Be fine.
Well, I'm cheating because Terry was my coach, full disclosure. So I have learned that one of the first things, I came to Terry with was everything I'm doing is very great. Everything I'm doing is everything I kind of feel like I want to be doing, but I'm spent, I'm exhausted, and I feel empty. So what do I do? And he really helped point me to my North Star. So that's kind of what we talked about quite a bit in coaching is what is your North Star and how do you sort of let everything else go other than the things that are helping you get to your North Star. And so now I do decline calls and I do
That's
put
why you
boundaries.
didn't answer the other day?
No, you I will always answer.
No, is it my fault? Hold on.
You I will always answer. You're one of my favorite people in the world.
Oh,
but
thank
yes, to Terry's kind of the proof is in the pudding point is that is definitely what's happened to me in the last few months.
Yeah.
And we've been able to increase on the Wings of Angels donations, my speaking engagements, our productivity based on that coaching.
Yeah, I definitely cautious with the calls. I ask people when they email me, because most of the time it's email, to give me an appointment time so that I can attend to them. Number one, because when I get calls, these are long, traumatic kind of calls. Okay, and then so we do appointments. When my phone is ringing, usually I can tell what it might be. I'll have them go to voicemail and then I can respond because I've had some very frightening kind of phone calls from the other side of the spectrum. We've even been threatened. My organization's been threatened by a angry man in a divorce case. So there's a lot of danger being in a nonprofit and doing this kind of work that involves domestic abuse. That's just a reality.
Yeah, that's right.
I kind of love the whole, leave me a message and I'll book a time with you.
Yes.
I like that.
And I have a really good friend who is like, listen, I got this business call at 5:01. Guess what? They're waiting till tomorrow.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that is a struggle that we all have because it's that whole idea of, I don't want to miss something. What is it, FOMO?
Yeah.
Is that still a thing?
You have
You're
to
missing
care.
out, right?
You have to care for yourself, though. I had people calling me in the
what you told
middle
me.
of the night in the beginning, years ago, and I'm like, not doing that.
Yeah.
I deserve some respect and sleep just as well. I actually had a woman send me her whole court file. And then, it was through fax. And I didn't even know what the heck it was. And she called me a couple of days before a court date and said, I need you to copy those documents. And I said, excuse me?
Wow.
And so, these are the
it's
reality.
true.
You said somebody wanted you to help them.
Yeah.
She wanted me to do this work.
Yeah. No.
This is not what I'm here for.
Correct.
I'm happy to come into court and monitor for you.
Boundaries,
but,
for sure.
Such the word. With the work you two do,
Yes.
it's got to be really clear that this is in game
Boundaries.
and this is not. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's other places that will do this with you, for you, near you, but if I do that, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
The 3 words I use often are do, delegate, or defer.
I wish I could delegate, but
Yeah, I understand the delegation gets tough. But, one of the things that JoJo's done such a great job of is enrolling an incredible supportive community and tribe. And so the volunteer side of things, and it's tough because they're volunteers. You can't really put the finger on them.
Yeah.
But you allow them to self-select who's able and capable and good at and willing
And don't you
to do
think
that thing.
passionate about it?
Well, they don't show up if they're not passionate, right?
Well, that's right.
That's the
You don't think
bare
so?
minimum.
No,
the
they
home.
they
They
usually
don't.
want to do something, or
Okay.
Yeah, nonprofits are interesting, right? We all have a heart for something, but we don't have a heart for everything.
right.
So the people that care usually had some sort of struggle or similar situation that brought them into this in the first place. So it's relatable. And yeah, so they
I had
have that passion.
so for our event on Saturday, we need people at Jimmy John's Field passing out flyers because that's part of how we're going to collect more donations on site. And so we had this random woman who said she's been following us for a while, volunteer. Well, then about 3 days later, she sends me an email and basically says, I just want you to know that the reason I'm volunteering is that because I was in a domestic violence situation for 10 years of my life. I finally escaped about 10 years ago. And then she goes, ... By the way, that is the first time I said that out loud.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Well,
So-
we're having an open house. The nonprofit.
We have a lot of events going on.
Yes. This is in September. September 17th, we're doing a virtual open house. And legal community, individuals in a court crisis are welcome to come. It's free. It'll be online, and it's through Eventbrite. You can find it at our website, the National Family Court Watch Project.org. The goal and the speaker we're having is Ruth Dean from the Hague Mothers in England, and also Terry Wren, who's the director and founder of Engender Collective. And they will be speaking and we'll open up for the community to talk. We're not asking for money, but if you'd like to donate, please do. And we're also hoping and encouraging people to volunteer and come on board with our nonprofit. We have 3 attorneys. We have a lot of people, 6 really powerful people, but we could use help in other areas. So you're welcome to send a resume along and I'll get in touch with you.
Okay, we have another event.
Yes. Tell us.
Tell us, Deborah. So, Rockin Under the Stars.
Rockin Under the Stars at Multi Lakes Conservation Area in Commerce Township. It is an evening of music, great food. Multi Lakes is a beautiful venue overlooking a lake. So there's food, drinks, music. The Magic Bus is our headliner.
I'm seeing they're everywhere. I've never seen
They're
them,
everywhere.
but they're everywhere.
They are so entertaining. They are a 60s, 70s hippie kind of rock band. Costumes.
Tie-dye?
Yes. Tie-dye is definitely abundant and welcome.
Love that.
And their talent is absolutely amazing. We've been doing this event for 15 years, so this is our 15th anniversary for
awesome.
Rockin'.
That's awesome.
And Magic Bus is always a big fan favorite. It's $5 is the admission to get in, and just the whole family's welcome. We have a children's area with a bounce house and all kinds of things for the kiddos to do.
Great food, right?
Great food. So we've got barbecue and Mexican. There's adult beverages and
Say
have
a
some
woot
good-
woot.
You have some
Man,
good
yeah, that
sponsors.
just got better.
we have great sponsors. So Genesis Credit Union is our premier sponsor, and we've got the Huron Valley State Bank and a lot of chamber businesses that support this great event. And yeah, if you're available on Saturday.
So you can go to Jimmy John's first, and then go to,
Right.
then go to your
There you go.
event.
Exactly.
But the thing, you said family, and I think that's so important
Mm-hmm.
because during the summer, especially when the kids are off, mine just happened to be at camp, but whatever. But the whole idea of being together,
Yes.
right? And being able, not excluding them and having fun. And it's really all
Yes.
about creating those memories,
Yes.
Exactly.
right? And
Exactly.
that is,
Yeah.
and you guys do such a great job of that with this event. I mean, 15 years, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And our entertainers are very kid friendly. I mean, in front of the stage, everybody, you've got people with their headbands on and dressed to the nines and 60, 70 apparel, but everybody's dancing and everybody's having a great time. And the kids love it too, just as much as the adults, all ages.
That's so fun.
That's okay. What time does that start? 5? 4?
The gates open at 4 p.m. and our opening act comes on at 5:30.
And that's Dan. What opening act is that?
Rafferty.
Okay.
And the Magic Bus comes on at 8:30.
And it goes till 11?
11.
Okay. So mark your calendars, everyone, for that. And then Jimmy John's doubleheader, actually.
Yes, Jimmy John's doubleheader. So I'll be speaking on the Jimmy John's field. Feel very honored to be able to do that. I'll be interviewed by Terrence Friday from CBS Detroit. He'll be doing like a 15-minute interview on the field with me. And we are raising funds to go directly into the hands of domestic violence survivors. So we have a suite there. So the suite tickets are about $100. That goes towards the cost of the whole event. And then we're going to have an awesome raffle. So any one of the attendees that donates $5 or more, which, by the way, as a nonprofit, you have to apply to the State Gaming Commission.
Yeah, it's like gambling, right?
Yeah. It's crazy to like do a raffle. So I had to do all of that. So we got our permission to do a raffle in the big stadium. And now $5 or more gets you into, we've got some great raffle prizes that people have given us. So it's pretty awesome. It's going to be a wonderful evening and some of our board members will be there. So people will be able to interact with them. And then if you are a volunteer and you are listening and you feel like you like to pass out flyers and interact with people, come out because we'll be passing out flyers. We're also going to have at our table a registration. Let's say you are a survivor and you need our help. Yeah. It's going to be a very simple name, email, phone number.
Kind of on the download?
On the download.
On the download.
Very
that's
much
important, right?
That's very important for their privacy. Let's say you're there with your husband and kids, but your husband's abusing you. Well, here's an easy way to say, hey, look please talk to me later. And then we're going to have the same for donors and potential sponsors. We're a lot in Oakland County, we realized. We are very heavily involved there. And so we wanted to bring ourselves to the Macomb County environment. And
Mark Hackle going to be there?
I mean, you never know. You never know what celebrities are going to show up. I do like that guy.
I'll text this guy. Okay, Terry, what event do you have coming up Saturday?
I'm going to feel like I have to make one up. I'm an underachiever. I don't have an event on Saturday.
He's coming to ours, right?
That's true. But it's not mine.
Right, it's not.
Well, we're so national that, and I have board members in D.C. and New Jersey and New York and then here. So we do our events virtually, at least for right now, until we're, in a better financial situation. But certainly, we did one last year, so this is our second annual, and it was well attended, and people really appreciated having that venue to come and talk and hear. And so that's in September. So book your day, September 17th, 6 to 8 online. Virtual.
And that may be an actual, and I know people love baseball, right?
Yes.
But for this kind of situation, I'm thinking virtual sometimes actually comes in handy and gets more of a response because of the undertones, right?
Certainly.
Yep.
They appreciated too that they could appear incognito.
For sure.
Yep.
The especially the women.
Yep.
So, but all my students attended. They learned a lot. It's great.
It's so cool. Okay, so I don't know. I'm trying to think about you with this question because you have answered it and I think JoJo has answered it. So I'm going to start with Deborah. So Deborah, if you were to meet your younger self for coffee, what would you tell her?
Don't sweat the small stuff.
You had that planned. Did you know I was going to ask that?
That was so good.
Well, I'm 61 years old, so I remember, the young girl that I was, and I worried about all the things, and we were talking about earlier, like answering that phone.
Yes.
I mean, taking phone calls at 11 o'clock, like waking out of dead sleep. Hello, how can I help you? And it's like, no, you don't have to, because it'll be there. Your doctor doesn't answer their phone at 11 o'clock at night.
That's right.
Exactly. So I think that goes back to kind of the scarcity mindset that we have when we're younger, maybe, right?
True.
Because we don't know, we think that the next big deal isn't going to fall through or it's not coming if we don't pick up the phone. So I wish, it's like I try to tell the kids all the time, like, listen, you don't have to, you don't have to do this. You can take a step back. You can actually go lock yourself in your room, please.
Yeah.
I mean, but to tell them, but then of course they get on me like, well, you don't do that. And I'm like, okay, point taken. Go to your room and lock the door.
I love it.
So, okay, Renee, how about for you? If you were to meet your younger self for coffee, what would you tell her?
I don't want to say exactly, don't sweat the small stuff, but I think that I would have wanted to just take a breath. Just take a breath and evaluate it before I responded. Because I think it was young, I was actually abused by my parent. And I I didn't even know that it was that bad. So now, I think I would want to go back and really evaluate, take time, because I think I responded out of trauma. I think as a younger person, I responded out of trauma. I'm getting better. So that's what I would have wanted to do with myself, a younger self. Not respond, take a breath.
Take a breath. I love that. Okay, JoJo, I'm going to kind of switch it up for you. So, okay, define relatable, what it means to you.
Relatable to me means that whether or not you have dealt with the same exact situation as somebody else, we can all find common ground. And to be a true community and a contributing member of the community, we need to find that common ground now more than ever.
Love that.
Okay, sir. I don't know.
You're like, I don't have a question
you
for
started the relatable quiz, but okay, no, seriously, what does it mean to you to be relatable?
It means that you're going to take the time to understand yourself, the others around you, those you support, and you're going to help others move on a mission by developing a deeper connection. That's really what it was. It was about this connectedness idea. I'm a big fan of the fact that we are all one, right? You can't hurt self without hurting others. You can't hurt others without hurting self, mostly because there are no others, but that's a little deep for this. And so it's just about getting to truth on that.
Define truth.
Truth is a shared definition of experience, belief, and a way of looking at things. The interesting thing about truth is there's usually 3 of them.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, there's yours, there's mine,
And
and then
there's-
actual.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's only one that has a capital T.
How do you find that?
You find that by, to me, it should be like we should have a quantifiable number. Like if 90% of people agree that something is this way,
Then it is.
that could be like a capital T truth. But the reality is, I don't think you're ever going to find, which is why the quiz has almost always and almost never, as opposed to always and never. I don't think you're going to find a situation that's 100%.
Okay, well.
Can I turn the question back at you?
What?
Oh, yeah, girl, get her.
I was going to get out of this.
What-
Which one?
If you had something to say to your younger self, what would you tell her?
Oh gosh, run. No, no. You know what? I think I would tell her. Well, it's so funny, right? Because you always, once you answer this question after everyone else has answered it, you kind of feel like you're cheating because it was like, well, I would tell her to breathe. I would tell her to not, sweat the small stuff. I think I would say trust yourself, right?
Yes.
Because there's always going to be people who don't like you. There's going to be people who love you too much, right? I mean, you're going to have extremes.
Yep.
But I'm a firm believer, especially these days, that your intuition and your gut, so to speak, is, and that's a conversation I've been having with the kids. Daisy has asked me repeatedly, what is intuition? What does that mean? And I'm like, well, you have to, if you get that feeling, you have to kind of go with it.
Yeah.
And I did not trust it for years.
Yeah.
And now in retrospect, you think, oh, well, if I would have listened to that feeling, perhaps that might not have happened. But you don't know that, right? You learn it with age.
Yeah.
And when we're younger, we try to squash it.
Right, because you don't trust it.
Exactly.
Right? So I think that, my hope for my kids, your kid, everyone's kids, is that you, Isabel, I'm talking to you too, is that you, if you feel that feeling, you do take that breath, right? And then you think about it, and then you realize, maybe I should go for that.
Yeah.
Or maybe I shouldn't. And the same for, domestic survivors.
Yep.
That feeling of, I got to run.
Yeah.
And knowing when the right time to go.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. I love that.
So I think that's what it is.
Thank you
Did
for
I answer your
answering.
question?
That was great. Thank you.
That was great.
Love to hear it.
All right, we have actually had we have a full house today with a live audience. They've been pretty quiet, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Anyone have a question? Silence. Go ahead.
Terry, you described what relatability is as a teacher of it. What in you is relatable?
I have a very eclectic background of experience, and more to the point, I ask a lot of questions about things I don't understand to seek clarity. And in asking those questions, I do it so people feel heard, but also so I can learn more, and then I can have a conversation with someone about most anything where they feel heard, understood, and like somebody actually gets what they're saying. That skill set, I feel like the ability to ask good questions and listen are the two most important skill sets we have as human beings.
How hard is that for people to do?
It's interesting. It depends on where they are in development, right? So there are people that are way too wired to ask questions and listen and never talk about themselves. And then the opposite is true, right? And so the people on the opposite end that are really interested in themselves, and I don't mean self-centered in a bad way. We should be centered on self. But if you're only interested in your hair, or your nails, how you look, right?
Oh my God, we talked about all of that.
It becomes challenging. This is not a direct reflection on you at all.
As he rolls his eyes.
I'm not talking about anyone named Brooke. No,
Not
seriously.
nice. Not nice.
No, I'm playing. That's totally.
Okay, well, speaking of nails, real quick before we go, JoJo, you have your nails done, and I'm so
did.
thrilled about this.
I do.
Because tell me why you got them done like that.
Because we have another event this
Yes.
week speaking of events, and that is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke After Dark. So I got these special ones because they're kind of after dark related. They're nighttime ones.
They are beautiful.
And I thought we would test them out on today's show.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Yep. So I got my, I went with red this time.
I love it.
I went with red.
'Cause
I don't
risque.
usually- Yes, I don't. Yeah, I don't usually go with red. So yeah, so the After Dark show that is happening Wednesday at the Detroit Cambria CeeLo Rooftop Bar. I'm super excited about this. The show starts at 6:30. Doors will open at 5. They'll be open anyway, but we go 5 to 9. I know you'll be making like a 5-minute appearance, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe 6 if I'm lucky.
I'm pulling the show up.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate
I'm
it. So
looking
yeah.
forward to it.
No, so we are excited. We haven't done an After Dark since I think it was the Palladium back in December. It was our holiday extravaganza. This one, I've had some people, I have to acknowledge this because I've had some people say, hey, it says risque conversations. What does that mean? This show is actually all about relationships. So, and I love to say, it's about the, whether you're involved, whether you're not, whether you think it's sketchy, whatever. But I mean, it's just fun. We, I might have an espresso martini, right?
Why not?
Okay, Richie.
I heard Mike very subtly back in the background.
I think it was Dean actually. So it's just a lot of fun. Come out. It's a great, every show honestly is a great networking opportunity because it's live and the audience comes and other people come. You too, you didn't know each other before today, but now you do.
To talk
see.
More to you.
So it's really all about the connections, whether you are on a Monday morning drinking a cup of coffee or whether you're on a Wednesday night having an espresso martini.
I love that.
So please, you can RSVP at helloimbrooke.com or just show up. We'd love to see you. But in the meantime, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Keep the coffee hot. We'll see you next week. Thanks. No, we'll see you Wednesday. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.